Hello, everyone. Welcome to Just for the Love of Reading, where we read books to inspire, motivate, and empower. Today's book in our book club series is titled Severance by Ling. This novel falls into the following categories: apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic, science fiction, dystopian fiction, modern fiction, and satire. So our novel's protagonist is Candace, a modern-day woman who lives in New York City. From failed relationships to career decisions to trying to survive a pandemic to witnessing an apocalypse, I think it's fair to say that Candace has a lot going on all at the same time. Candace has to decide whether or not she will fulfill her job contract amidst the pandemic. The company is forced to shut down the headquarters because of the pandemic, but in order to, show good company morale, they want someone to stay there to represent the company. So that's where Candace comes in, right? So Candace is the only employee left at the headquarters when Shen fever dominates and the apocalypse takes place. What is Shen fever, one may ask? So it's sort of like this fungal infection that causes people to repeat actions compulsively until they eventually, and so that's basically what Shen fever is, right? And this is what's taking over and causing a pandemic. Candace ends up joining forces and becoming allies with a group of individuals who basically, they're trying to survive the pandemic as well. And so what they do is they go to different houses, like abandoned houses, and they basically look for supplies that they can keep in order to survive, right? And then they also kill Shen fever victims along the way. So Candace joins forces with them, right? And what ends up happening is that she eventually ends up becoming a prisoner to these same people, and so escaping these people becomes a matter of life and death. So the reader wants to know, will Candace survive the pandemic or succumb to Shen fever? Will she fulfill her contract obligations at work, or will she opt out before it's over? And will she escape the imprisonment of her comrades turned kidnappers? So when examining our protagonist Candace, I've sort of broken down, her story into three main categories. The first one is loneliness. The second one is survival. And the third one is perseverance. So let's start with loneliness. Throughout the story, we are aware that Candace doesn't really have anyone close to her during this time, right? She broke up with her boyfriend, or her boyfriend broke up with her prior to this, to fulfill his own career and kind of do his own thing. And then her parents passed away years ago. So Candace doesn't really have anyone that loves her close to her during this time that all of this is taking place. Hence why she joins forces with that group who ends up kidnapping her. So we know that she's alone in the flesh. However, throughout the story, you begin to realize that even though she's alone in the flesh, she's not really alone, which I'll explain later. But through all of this that's taking place, she really doesn't have anyone close to her to go through this with. Survival. She is surviving so many things at the same time. She is trying to survive work, trying to survive a pandemic, and trying to survive an apocalypse. So there's just so many things going on. And so Candace's whole thing is just surviving. Is she going to survive all of them? Is she going to survive some of them? Is she going to succumb to one of them? This is what the reader wants to know. So the theme of survival is really there, in my opinion. And perseverance. So you heard me say that Candace doesn't really have anyone really close to her in the flesh that's guiding her or helping her through this time. She's really all alone. However, the reader does find out a couple of things. First off, Candace is pregnant. So the boyfriend that she ended the relationship with, she's carrying his child. So even though she's not with him, there's still a part of him that's with her. And obviously through the baby. And so this is what motivates Candace to persevere and really, most importantly, escape her kidnappers. And then we also see that she has her mother's spirit guiding her through her imprisonment and encouraging her to escape. So she'll have conversations with her mother, she'll hear her mother's voice and things like that. So again, even though Candace is alone in the flesh, she has her baby and the spirit of her mother guiding her and allowing her to persevere through this all. And another thing to mention as well is the fact that when it comes to Candace's work, she is really risking her life to fulfill this job contract, right? With everything that's going on. However, the reader does learn that Candace actually has a passion for photography. And it's her ex-boyfriend who encourages her to pursue her real passion and really make that dream a reality. And so the reader is curious to know, will she pursue her true passion, which is photography, or won't she? And so that is another big factor to take into consideration as well. So Candace is just really going through a lot all at the same time, trying to figure it out, trying to survive. And we really see what helps her to persevere and keep on going and to not give up on herself. So I didn't really find that Severance inspired me too much in any particular way in this novel. What I will say is that I did learn something. I found it really interesting to learn about Candace's career as a Bibles coordinator and just the in-depth nitty-gritty of, what her job entails. And I found it really interesting about paying attention to detail when producing and manufacturing Bibles. Something as simple as, the climate can affect the material that you use for the Bible covers and things like that. So I really enjoyed learning about that aspect and just how detailed her job really is. So I found that interesting. How was I motivated? I was motivated to continue to pursue my passions, right? As I had mentioned, Candace has a passion for photography. And the way I saw it is, she put so much effort and dedication and almost risked her life during a pandemic and apocalypse for a career that she didn't really find any joy in, but she was just good at it. So I'm thinking, how many times do we put so much effort into things that we don't even really enjoy, but we have to do it? Imagine how much more fulfilled we would feel if we pursued something that we were really passionate about. So that's what really motivated me to just continue to pursue my passions and the things that make me happy and make my heart smile. How was I empowered? Wow. Just to continue to be a survivor. Candace had so many things going on at once. And throughout it all, she survived. And she did what she had to do. And she kept on going. And how scary it must have been at that time for her, being all alone, no one to trust, carrying a child, and all these other things that she was faced with. And yet she still found a way to make things happen for her and to get through things. So this novel definitely empowers me to continue to be a survivor. So, if you are interested in looking for a novel that has an apocalyptic theme to it, genre, it really deals with a lot of things at the same time, deals with, career, work obligations, failed relationships, all these things in one novel, then Severance by Ling is the novel for you. So, tell me what you think. What did you think were Candace's major things that she had to deal with, right? If you could sum it up in 3 words, what would you choose, right? I chose survival, loneliness, and perseverance. What would you say? And what did you think of the novel? Did you enjoy it? What parts resonated with you? What did you really like about it? And what did you learn from Candace's story? So please feel free to share down below. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.